A not so long 3 years ago, higher education was chugging along at their normal speed. Then, March 2020. That all changed and transitioned every university and college community into a remote delivery system, without any preparation at all. Those who were not prepared were left to struggle to provide the same quality teaching they had before, while those of us, like our ATS folk, did not miss a beat. Let us tell you the story of those who were not and those who were. Okay, let's get started with our topics to be covered. We'll do a comparison, Teacher A versus Teacher B. We'll start with attendance.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to take attendance. All right, I'm using our face-to-face, tried-and-true method. Antonucci. Bavravi. Cappuccino. I don't think anyone's here.
Welcome to Academic Technology Services, IT Foundations 101. Even though this is a face-to-face class, we will be using a lot of the components from Canvas to administer this course. First, we're going to go over how to take attendance. The first thing you'll have to do is check in with a phone, your laptop, any kind of mobile device. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, we click quickly attendance. Once I click check in, a code will appear. You'll need to enter that code within 10 minutes. If you miss it or you're not here, you will get an email stating that you were absent for the day.
Now we'll compare Teacher A versus Teacher B with regard to distributing files.
Okay, I'm going to be handing out files and all that fun stuff throughout the semester. I'm going to start with the syllabus. So I'm going to walk around. Oh, good Lord, I dropped everything. This is the problem with having so many files. They fall over.
Okay, so with my course, I do not like to hand anything out. So pretty much all, if not everything, will be posted on Canvas, such as your syllabus. You'll click on syllabus. And you'll see the syllabus right in your course.
Once again, Teacher A versus Teacher B. Let's talk about lectures.
ATS, IT Foundations. This is our lecture. We have all kinds of technology throughout the entire stratosphere, including on campus. On our campus, we have very scintillating things. Some of those things include computers, microphones, and all kinds of stuff.
All of my lectures that we will be going over in class will be posted in Canvas, as well as any additional resources. For example, you have it broken down in week 2. You have the lecture. You'll see my PowerPoint. We'll open up here. As well as you will also see any additional resources, like this is a video. Want to go into it, open it up, and you just play it. All right.
Let's see how Teacher A versus Teacher B handles discussions.
Okay, we've just concluded our discussions in class. They're finished. I would like to extend discussion outside of class, but I don't have a Canvas shell. So I'd like you guys to pair up anywhere on a park bench, outside, in the street and discuss further the topics that we had, and then come back to me and report later.
We will be having discussions in course. Even though we are a face-to-face course, we will also have discussions outside of the classroom on Canvas. If you look right in your modules, you'll see week 2's discussion. Go ahead, I'll ask a question, and you guys will just hit the reply button and post your response.
Teacher A versus Teacher B with regard to assignments.
Okay, we're going to do some in-class assignments. I'm going to hand these out. They're going to be pencil and paper. Try not to use pen. I'm going to distribute these and collect these at the end of class. I would use Canvas, but I don't have a Canvas shell. So I'm going to see. Oh, fudgesicles, I've dropped it all again. Damn it.
Again, even though this is a face-to-face class, I will not be collecting any paperwork, assignments, or anything. We'll be accepting all assignments in Canvas. If you see Module 2, you can go into your assignments and you'll see Week 2 assignments. So there's nothing for you to hand in. Everything will have a due date. You'll submit it online electronically, as well as it will be graded online. You can see any comments or grades added to it.
To see who's on point, Teacher A versus Teacher B, and let's give them quiz.
Okay, we're going to take an in-class quiz. I'm going to distribute the quiz in a few minutes. Make sure everything's off your desks. We're not utilizing Canvas or anything that could grade it, so I'll make sure and take the entire weekend to grade. I'm about to hand these out, but as normal, I'm going to drop everything. There I go again.
Week will be taking a quiz online, but in class. Be prepared with your laptops. You'll see in your course, you'll go to modules, you'll click on quizzes, and you'll just hit begin. It'll be timed, and you'll be graded automatically online.
Combining both face-to-face and online techniques is a great way to prepare for any possible emergency where face-to-face instruction is no longer an option. If the pandemic taught us anything, it is to be ready for anything. Higher education can be a diverse and dynamic learning environment, and the more the instructor is prepared, the better the experience for both faculty and students.
Can you guys wake up out there? Hello? Hello? Can you wake up? Hello? Hello?
All right, first off, I'd like to thank Jen for that nomination for an Academy Award for next year. Very much appreciated, Jen. And then we'd like to welcome Mark to the facility. Mark, good to see you. Mark is here, right, Joy, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's muted.
Mark, you there? Well, my Mark is unmuting. One of the things is we put this presentation basically together was because when the pandemic did happen, again, almost 3 years, ironically, to the day today, that I was, believe it or not, I was the guy prepared as opposed to the video, which is completely the opposite. Joe, of course, gets the glamour role, hence he's geared up today with his lovely shirt on. You look very, very dapper, Joe.
Thank you. I try.
But one of the things we try to basically get across is the fact that I was face-to-face, and literally when it happened, I said to my students right before we were about to leave for spring break, I said, okay, you guys are never going to see me again. I know you're going to start crying, which they didn't. But for us, nothing is really going to change because my assignments, my exams, all my stuff was online to begin with in the LMS. So I really didn't change too much. And other than me just coming in and doing a lecture online, we were very seamless. So unlike a lot of people at that time, we segued almost seamlessly into just continuing the semester. Now, hopefully this never happens again, but our whole goal is to have all instructors, whether it's here at Rutgers or again for any good pedagogy, to have stuff set up and ready to go just in case, as Joe demonstrated with his Teacher B persona. Everything for him was basically online, and he utilized Canvas to distribute everything. That was our first video. Joe will be setting up and segueing our next video. But before you do that, Joe, you want to give a two-minute intro as far as like the next video that you put together and why and how that would help individuals out there?
Yeah, so the next video is basically going all of our different topics in details, go over the settings and your options for using these tools for the various options you have, just to show you how using the technology can make your life easier as well as the students. So we want to show you just some of the options that Canvas provides, and there are much more than what we're going over, but hopefully we'll get this video started and we can get going. But again, if you guys have any questions while we're getting that lined up, go ahead and submit in the chat and we'll answer any questions.
All right, you've just seen two instructors teaching the same face-to-face course and see the advantage of using just some of the tools available in Canvas. In this video, I'd like to go over those additional options and settings for those tools. So whether your course is face-to-face, hybrid, or fully online, these features will help you be prepared for any type of emergency, such as severe weather, and let's hope not another pandemic. Here at Academic Technology Services, we strive to make our courses well-organized, interactive, engaging, and effective. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and go over some of those settings of these tools. Okay, so what we're looking at is our homepage. It's the first thing students see when they enter your course. So we don't want it just to have plain text, a bunch of files uploaded. You want it to be welcoming and presentable. So we use a cool tool called City Labs. And what that does, it allows it to kind of look like this. It looks more engaging, has color to it, you can add pictures. And the way we do that, we go on any page, we click the edit button. Once you're in the edit page, on the top right corner, you'll see a little rocket ship. You go ahead and click that rocket ship, and it will open up and give you several different settings. A lot of times, I just use the add content block, which already has predetermined fields for you, which you can just create, make it, and you're good to go. All you have to do is type in your text. So if this is something you want to use, definitely contact us. We can go over with you, but you can play around with it yourself. Next, I want to talk about attendance and how we take attendance on Canvas. The tool we use is called Quickly Attendance. It's a pretty cool tool, has several different ways of taking attendance. The first one I'm going to go over is List. It literally is exactly what it sounds like. It lists all your students. By default, it marks them as present. You can go through the list and mark anybody who's absent, late, or needs an excused absence. The next way is a one-by-one list. It's literally the same. It just shows each student one by one. One of my favorite ones is called a check-in. It gives more time for you to actually teach your course and less time spending on taking attendance. What it does, it allows the students to check in on their own using their mobile device or a computer. It does have added features, which I put into my course, where you can have a PIN number and a timer. So I have a random generated PIN number, which I post either on the board in class, or I put it into Canvas for that day. And they have 10 minutes. They need to be in class in the first 10 minutes to get points for attendance. They enter the code in, and I'm teaching, and they're on their own doing their attendance. Another new feature that was just recently added is called Student Activity. What that is, you choose a date range or a specific date, and based on content, whether it be just logging into the course, whether it be a quiz or a discussion or an assignment, you can base it on any of those contents, and it will automatically mark the students present for that day. So it's really cool. So I want to go over some of the settings in this Quickly Attendance. So we're going to go over to settings, and one of the settings is grading. So you can choose it based on total points of the whole semester or points per each session. Each time you take attendance, it gives points. These also go automatically into the gradebook. So that's a gradebook column up in Canvas, so students can follow along with it, see how their grades are doing. Another one of my favorite tools is the automatic emails that you can set. So once you turn it on, By default, it will automatically send an email to your students marking them absent if they were not in for the day. Attendance statuses you can set. By default, it has the present, absent, excused, late, but if you have a different, or you want to even change the points that you want to assign to them, you can add your own or change it. And the other is your preferences, how you like to see it, how you want to see the sorting, if you want a PIN number for the check-in or not. And it keeps a copy of all the records for the entire semester. So students can also see the records, you can see it. You can add notes or comments if it's, for instance, this one, the grandmother passed. So it was an excused absence. So you can keep that information if you ever need to go back to it. If you guys have any questions about this, please reach out to us and let us know. Thanks. Okay, so now I want to talk about files and lectures. The greatest thing about Canvas is that you can upload any type of file you want. You don't have to carry anything. You don't have to pass out anything. Everything is located right in Canvas. So Canvas uses a similar file structure that you would see in any computer that you use normally. It has a list of your files and you can upload it. Typically, most instructors upload their files to where they want the students to see it. For example, under modules, I'm going to show you a couple files, a couple ways that students see lectures and how you can upload different types of file types. So for instance, I have PowerPoints, my lectures. If I was teaching, I can open it up right up, present it right in class, as well as the students can download it and see it right on their computers. They can make notes on it. Another way of uploading is not just for PowerPoints. I also use it to upload videos or embed videos. So for example, I have a YouTube video that was embedded right into the course. It looks cleaner, it looks slicker, and students can just watch it, all staying within the Canvas course. Okay. So it's a nice way to handle your files and other resources you may use. So now I want to show you discussions and show you some of the settings that you have. We'll go into discussions and we're going to go into just creating a new discussion. It's very easy. Look for the blue button, hit the plus discussion button. Okay, so all you're going to do is write a topic. I'm going to say intros, and you can write whatever you want them to discuss about. For example, I can put something like introduce yourself and tell me why you're taking this course. So once you do that, you have a couple options. You can create sections, which we can get into if you really want to get into it later. Just contact us. The biggest options that I want to show you is allow threaded replies, and users must post before seeing replies. This is a really good one. Basically what it does, it doesn't allow a student to see anybody who posted, so you don't get the whole class of basically the same discussion, just reworded. So it's nice they can't see anybody's post until they post their own first. Another option you have, if it's a group discussion, you can create groups in Canvas, and you don't have to have the whole entire class participate. Maybe one member from the group can just post it, and you can set it up to be graded, and they will be graded that way. So it's quick, and you can set up dates where it's available from until. And that's pretty much it. You just click save and publish, and students can come in and start replying right away. Okay, so now we're going to go over assignments. And we're going to go into one of my assignments, and we're going to go over some of the settings. I'm going into the assignments, and I'm going to click edit, and this is exactly what you would see if you created a new assignment. So once you're in and it loads, you give it an assignment name, and down in the big white box, you give it the instructions. It has a nice editor tool, just like similar to what you would see in Microsoft Word, and you type in whatever you need to type in. Next, it breaks it down by points. How much is this worth? You want to grade out of 100? You want to grade out of 20? It's totally up to you. You have assignment groups. You can group all your assignments by different categories. Again, up to you. And how you want the students to see your grades. Do you grade by percentage? Do you grade by points? Or do you want to see a letter grade? It's totally all up to you and customizable. Next, the submission type. What kind of submission? Is this something that was submitted to you on paper in class, or was this submitted online? And typically when you have online, you can have them type directly. Text entry means to type directly right onto Canvas, or a file upload. I typically restrict it to file uploads because I want a specific file. I can restrict it to a PDF or Word document, whatever I choose to. And I can annotate right on the screen if I do that. So I typically use that. You can allow multiple attempts, unlimited attempts. one attempt. It's really, again, up to you. One of the third-party tools we use is called Turnitin. It's a plagiarism tool. You just turn it on, and what it does, as they're submitting, it will check their paper for any plagiarism. It'll give you sources where they plagiarized and what percentage of their entire paper was plagiarized. So it's a pretty cool tool. You can set this up as a group assignment. When you do that, you set the groups up in Canvas. One student uploads their paper, you grade it, and the entire group gets the same grade. You could, if you needed to, change one or two students. Maybe their grade should be less or more. You can do that for a group. Peer reviews and moderate grading we'll go over if you need to. The nice feature here is this assign. You have a due date and available from, available until. You don't have to worry about students not submitting. You can set a due date. You can accept things that are late. You can even click the add button if you want a certain student to have their due date or their paper set and submitted at a different time. So this assignments was really, in my experience, was a game changer for instructors that I've assisted with. The fact that they didn't have to carry anything or collect anything or possibly lose anything, it's nice. They were able to annotate on it. The grades are submitted right into Canvas. So I'm going to show you exactly where you would grade and how you can annotate. So once the grades are submitted, I can go into SpeedGrader and I can choose a student that I want to grade. For this, the test student is the only student that's submitted. So right now I have the option to either download it, I can view it right here, and I can put the grade right in here. If I want to put a typical note, I can say, hey, right here, this was great. I can also do things like highlight. I can highlight a certain area if I need to. And I can also, if you're good with the mouse, draw right into it. Okay, I could also put a grade right here. Students will see these comments. I can add additional comments. I can also record myself, give little emojis. It's all right in Canvas. Students see it right away whenever I choose to make the grades available. So it is a really nice, clean system, and you don't have to download unless you need to. So lastly, what I want to go over is quizzes, how to make a quiz in Canvas. The first thing we're going to do is go over to the menu and click on quizzes. Once there, we're going to look for a blue button that says plus quiz. You click the plus quiz button, you have an option. Canvas has two types of quizzes, classic quiz and new quizzes. They both have their pros and cons of each, but today we're going to go over classic quizzes. We're going to go into classic quiz, click submit, and it's going to bring you to your settings page. The first thing it's going to ask you, what do you want to name this quiz? So I'm going to go over here and click and type quiz 1, and then you move down to the quiz instructions. As your typical toolbar, similar to Word, and I'm going to write some simple instructions. You have 60 minutes, each worth 2 points. As you scroll down, you have more options. What type of quiz is this? Is this a practice quiz? Is it a graded quiz? You can also, instead of an actual quiz, make it into a survey. I'm going to leave it at graded quiz. The next is your assignment group. If you wanted all your quizzes to be in a certain group and all your homework in a certain group, you can do that. For now, we're going to leave it the way it is. Next is shuffle answers. This does exactly what it says. The only thing, be careful with this. If you have any multiple choice questions that have the answer is choice A and C, that will mess up your answers. So I'm going to keep this off for now. You have your time limit. I'm going to put 60 minutes. And allow multiple attempts if you choose to. I'm not going to check it because I only want them to have one attempt. Now this section here is your feedback. It's going to tell you what kind of feedback you want to show the students. Do you want to show the students the quiz responses right away? Do you want them to see the correct answers? And when you want to see the correct answers or when you want to hide it. Totally up to you. If you check it, you won't see anything. The next option is to show each question one at a time, and also gives you an additional option to lock questions after answering. So once you lock the questions after answering, what that does is once they answer a question, they cannot go back. There's no backtracking. I'm going to keep that on for now. And next is requiring an access code. That's basically a password. If you want to give a password to your students, right before they take the exam so they don't start ahead of time, you can do so. And here's your option when you want to assign and who you want it to assign to. So right now I'm going to leave it at everyone. That's the default. And it will be assigned to the entire class. You have your due date and you're available from and until. So you set those dates up and you'll be good to go. It also has the nice option where you can add, if you have students that have to take it at a different day or time, you can choose those students and have a wholly different day for them. Once you set that up, you scroll up to the top and you click on questions. And here's where you make your questions. So the first thing you'll see is new question. We're going to go ahead and click on new question. And we're going to choose what type of question we want. Do we want a multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank? It's totally up to you. So right now I'm going to choose true and false. For example, I'm going to say, today is Friday. And as I'm making this video, it is Friday. Okay, so ignore my spelling. So I can go down here, select if it's the correct answer, if it's false or true. We'll leave it at true. And I'm going to click update this question. There you go. That's question one, all ready to go. And you go so on and so on. A new question group basically allows you to have a question pool that allows you to make multiple questions and say, choose 5 out of my 20 questions. Find questions, if you can create question banks and you can look for certain questions based on chapters and you'll have to create those. And once you're all done creating it, you'll click save and publish. So right now I'm going to go to one of my other quizzes that I already created. I'm going to go over it. So here we go. We're going to go to, this is the quiz that we made for week 2. I'm going to preview it just so you can see how it looks like. And you can see it goes questions straight all the way down. You just choose your questions. They're 2.5 questions each. Now, another thing I want to go over with this is if you have a student that needs accommodations, special accommodations like time and a half. Once you save and publish the quiz, you'll see this option for moderate this quiz. This will allow me to give any of these students the extra time. They can either get an extra attempt or, like it says, everyone already gets 60 minutes. How much extra time? I want to give this student 30 extra minutes. And I save. So no other students know. There's no need to make another special quiz just for the student. It's all the same. They just get extra time. Okay. So right now I'm going to go back. And once the students' quizzes are graded, you can go to Speed Grader, show the results. So for example, no one has taken this, so I can't do anything with it. Some additional things I want to add and mention. So we also have a third-party tool called Respondus Lockdown Browser. What that is a special browser that you download and install on the computers. The students would install it themselves. As those, we have it installed already in our computer labs. What that does is lock down the computer where they can't go to the internet, they can't go anything outside of the test. It also has an added feature called Respondus Lockdown Monitor. What that does is it uses the camera, it uses AI and records the student and will flag them if they think there's any suspicion of cheating. It will be up to you to look at those videos, to look at those flags to see if you think someone was cheating, if there was anything going on. But it is a pretty cool feature to add to a quiz, especially if you're worried about cheating. And again, if we went over a bunch of things, there's a lot more in Canvas that are really cool features. Definitely contact us if you need to go over anything else, if you want to look into anything else. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in because that last topic when we were talking about Respondus Lockdown Browser kind of ties us back to the keynote, right? So we're talking about the implicit bias of the actual technology. Marta had brought up the idea of increased anxiety for students. There's certainly concerns about privacy and increased opportunity for technical issues. So I think all of this kind of has to be based in reality and how it's going to work for your course. One of the other things is how big is your course? If I've got a huge class, I have to, to some extent, I have to use some of the tools like objective tests. I may not be able to do quite the same authentic assessment that we all know is ideal. But Canvas does allow for a lot of that possibility and to facilitate the teaching process to try and just manage your time. Jen had mentioned the homepage. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick share because there is one little thing super annoying. Well, not just one little thing, but I'll mention this here.
Careful.
It's very, it just, it's a little tricky. So in your sandbox, this is a messy course and it kind of works in this case. There are our pages down here. So I'm going to go into pages first. And it's a two-step process, which is I think why it's so confusing to add your home page. So there is something called a front page. So that's defining that front page if students go straight to pages. So you will first need to set up your front page under pages. Again, it's called front page there. And then the next step is that next little piece that's really easy to miss. And that's on your home page. You're setting a home page. So it's front page and home page. Both of those have to work together to set that opening page. We talked about City Labs. Not everybody here has access to City Labs, but we do all have access to pages. So pages will allow you to embed audio and video. So I have one instructor who puts her course orientation video right on the homepage. I have another faculty member who posts a picture and part of her bio. So it's really flexible. You don't have to have all the bells and whistles in order to use Canvas effectively and engagingly in your class. The other thing I'll mention is, did you see this crazy menu here? When Joe was showing us his menu, his was pared down. And particularly at Rutgers, this menu can get rather long. You may not like the order or the default order. This is your course. You're in control, so feel free to go ahead and pare down this course menu. We talked about files, right? So sometimes I've got files in there that I don't want the students to have access to yet. I want them to have access to it when and where I want them to have. So you'll see that the files menu is hidden so that I'm controlling when my students have access to these files. By default, this is visible to our students. That's great for some faculty who are using it more as a file repository, but I like to have a little bit more control and present my content the way and how and when I want to present that content. So feel free to go ahead and customize your course as well.
But to actually wrap up before we do our Q&A, Joy has a very, very brief PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll open it up to everybody for any questions and stuff or comments or things they'd like to discuss. Joy, take it away.
Great. Thank you. Let me just grab this. I switched to the file share or the screen share, so sorry about that. So again, different options, attendance. Newark has a license to quickly attendance. Not everybody has quickly attendance, but there is a roll call feature in Canvas. So, the students want to know where they are, right? That was our biggest feedback when we did a student survey. They wanted to know grades and feedback and all that good stuff. And attendance is part of that. If it's counting in your grade, the students want to know where they are, if only to hopefully address or reduce the number of issues and questions at the end of the semester when grades are coming through. Files, we mentioned, talking about the idea of you do have control over your files. It's not just a hodgepodge, or does not have to be a hodgepodge of list of files and folders. Lectures, again, Canvas is just a tool. It's hopefully facilitates your learning. It is hard a little bit the first time you get used to it. And if you don't use it a lot, it's easy to forget how powerful it can be. Joe mentioned discussion. So there's lots and lots of options in there that you may never pay attention to. The defaults are generally speaking okay, but feel free to explore or contact any of your local IT support as well as our help desk. We've got lots of knowledge around here at Rutgers, and we want to share that with you. Assignments, again, the idea is that Canvas should be there to facilitate and help you with the management of teaching. There's a lot of stuff about teaching that's not teaching, and hopefully Canvas is a tool that can help you with that. Quizzes, we kind of already touched on talking about, tempering the idea of some of the technologies we use, whether it's appropriate or whether it's not, and also the reality of assessment, particularly in large classes. There's, there's a lot of students, and we have to do our best and provide that feedback and engage them in different ways and however we can. Or think of how you can use Canvas to free up some of the time in your class to do more of the engaging and authentic assessments that sometimes we don't get a chance to get to, if you will. I'm going to share our email and names as well. We're happy to talk with anybody. We also have different folks around the campus, so you'll see many of our LMS support team is on today's session. Some of us have units or campus, so we've got our colleagues down to the south in IDT. We're all here to help our faculty. And again, it's just a tool to help you. And sometimes it helps just talking to someone to kind of think about how you can make the technology work for you. That was kind of, again, going back to the keynote, right? Is the technology leading us, or are we leading the technology? And that's, I think it really comes back to that human factor, that we need to be there. We need the students to know that we're there, we're human, and we're here to help them. Any questions that we can help with?
Get anything, put it in the chat, or Joe would be glad to answer anything you have.
We're all here. We're a pretty good group, pretty good team. Any questions, just let us know.
Anything coming in, guys?
Copy to digital.
QM standards are tough. Yes, you're right. But if you think of it more as a guiding guidelines, if you will. So if you take a look at the different pillars and the different ideas behind quality matters, that I think is more important than being able to check off and tick off each little box. And the other thing is that the concept behind quality matters is continual improvement, right? You're not going to, just automatically start teaching online with all this, bells and whistles. It's a iteration. It's just like teaching classes. The very first time you taught Bio 101, did you have everything down and know exactly what you wanted to do and have fabulous and engaging assessments? Nobody did. Teaching is a process.
I see Crystal asked a question. Not everything is available online. Transitioning from paper copy to digital isn't always available. How can we transition?
Mm-hmm. So we actually, and again, we're at Rutgers, so we do have access to certain databases through our libraries. Our libraries are also really helpful in getting some of the content if we don't. And we do have access to the full Adobe suite. So in some cases, it's a matter of at least providing some access until we can make sure it's fully accessible. And that's another thing, right? We didn't talk about accessibility with, particularly with Respondus, but that is certainly a concern. I just wanted to mention that.
We only have so much time, Joy.
Mm-hmm, sure. Yep, we've got one question from Pallavi about shuffling the answer. Yeah, so the messing it up, right? So it's really the shuffle answer option, and we're talking classic quizzes, means the correct answer might be A for me, and it might be B for Joe, and it might be C for Rob. If I am used to saying, here's A, B, C, and D, and then A and B, or all of the above, or none of the above, when it shuffles the answers, that's where it can look weird, because it says all the above, and all the above ends up being A. So that kind of, again, classic quizzes. In new quizzes lets you set the shuffling option at the question level. So that's, Joe mentioned, there's classic, there's new, sometimes you choose one or the other. These are the kinds of questions we can help you with. You tell us what your exam is or what your goals are, and we can, recommend one or the other. Great. Oh, great. So Mark is mentioning that he updates that homepage every week, and that Canvas is really good at doing links. So I don't think I have it in my sandbox, but it's just a review. Like, this is your to-do. So it's right there for the students. Super easy to use the course link tool in the rich content editor, so that the students don't have that excuse. Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I didn't know. So that's a nice way to keep that course fresh by using that dynamic homepage.
And Kelly, you said because I have to retype everything in new quizzes. If you hit the little, there's 3 dots next to your
Joe's really good at this.
classic quiz,
He's
and
the master.
it does let you actually migrate to new quizzes. So it should make your life a lot easier than having to retype everything.
It doesn't automatically move your banks of questions. So there is some manual process.
New quizzes uses something called item banks, which are different from classic quizzes, which are question banks. Unfortunately, it's not an easy way. There is a workaround, just not enough time to show you how to do that right now.
We're about to wrap up, and there's a few questions. I know Mark has some, and I'd like to thank Crystal again for the looking for the awards. Joy, could you show real quick? Could you flash back our contact information, guys? Feel free, whether you're at Rutgers or not at Rutgers, any colleagues across any university or college, feel free to reach out to us, shoot us an email, and then ask or go through any questions or anything you'd like to discuss, or maybe how some products work for us, like Quickly. Not everybody might have Quickly attendance in there. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Honestly, feel free to reach out to us and ask us anything, or just to say hi, or whatever the case may be. I have been Rob Medaska, Academic Technology Services, Rutgers, Newark. Joy, Joe, say goodbye.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Take care and have a great rest of the day.